Hey guys, Aaron's Automotive here, and in today's video we're actually going to be changing a CV shaft, or CV axle, on a 2002 PT Loser. I started the disassembly already before I started filming. I was just wanting to get it done, but figured I might as well make the video for it. So what I started to do off camera was the axle nut on this. There was a cotter pin I had to remove, a retaining nut, and a spring washer. Then behind that was a 32mm axle nut that I had to remove. With that removed, it freed up the axle. Then I had to remove the two bolts here on the strut tower. And those were 21mm. And once I got those removed, I was able to pull the whole steering knuckle assembly out of the way. I'm really wanting to try and avoid removing the lower ball joint. I really don't want to if I don't have to, but if I do, well, then I will. But basically what we're going to do now is remove the CV shaft from the transmission and from the steering hub here. So, to loosen that up, can't reuse this one anyway, so I'm not going to put the nut on it. I'm just going to tap on the actual head of it. If you're going to be reusing your CV shaft, actually, you know what? I'll put it back on anyways, just to show you. Axle nut. So with the axle nut on, just a few threads just to catch it, what you're going to do, you're going to take a hammer, you're going to hit right on the nut just to loosen the shaft from the splines in the steering knuckle here. There you go. That one's loose. Grab my axle nut socket here, take it off the rest of the way. There. So, get you guys a little closer here. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back on the steering knuckle here and pull the shaft out. Now the splines in here are stripped on this one, so this front half, this front part here will probably come off separately. So pull that apart or away. Yeah, these will come out separately. Alright, grab my hammer again. Just give that one more tap or two. There. So that's out. So that's the part that's broken. And now the part that goes into the transmission. Oftentimes you can just give them a good quick yank and they will come free. Let's get you a better spot. Oftentimes you can give these a good quick yank and they'll pull right out. Other times you'll need to get a pry bar and get it wedged up into here and give it a quick little pry. So, just going to give this a yank first and see what happens. Nope, alright. So what I'm going to have to do is take a pry bar and stick it in there. Get you a little closer in there. So, pry bar right into here. You can find a place to set it. And I might have to spin the transmission over a little bit to get a good place to pry in. Let's try the other end. Oh, sorry, I guess I should hold the camera steady. Yeah, I think that did enough. Nope. Right. What to do? What to do? I guess I could find the keys. Oh, yeah, this is that retaining nut I was talking about. Cotter pin and spring washer in there too. Just gonna take the keys. I think the battery's pretty toast on this car too. Yeah, she's toast. Alright, transmission's in neutral. See if we can spin this around a little. Just enough that I think I can get in there with the pry bar now, right into this crevice here. Put you down and use two hands on this. Yeah, I think that did it. So sometimes you gotta get a little forceful with it. Now it's out. And she's gonna chooch transmission fluid all over the place. There's the other part. So looks like it's these splines here that are pretty much toast. Put that down. Gotta have a nice hot cup of coffee when it's this cold out. Working in the snow. So from here, I guess we'll grab the new part. So this one's a new axle. I decided not to go with a remanufactured axle. Pull my ratchet out of there. I already opened this up once, just to take a look at it at the store. Caution. Inboard welding installation tips. Center C-clip on inboard welding with grease before installation. Do not use excess forcing clip or clip will break. Allowing axle to cause damage to other parts of the vehicle and void axle warranty. Vehicle axle has inboard welding which is separated from the drive shaft. A close inspection must be made to the vehicle. Motor mount, shift motor, transmission line frame, yada yada yada. Oh, just a warning. Garbage. I'll take this. Just gonna, I guess, lay it down the down with the old one here. So yeah, splines, they look the same. That's all the same. And I think the parts store gave me the wrong one. Let's reassemble this boot and double check. It's reassembled like that. Guess I can't really get that boot on all the way because the splines are wrecked, but that matches up. Alright. Take the axle nut off of this one. Make sure she threads are good onto this one. Just basically want to make sure it's the same size. Threads on. Now this one seems to have an ABS sensor on it. The old one doesn't. I really don't think that's going to make much of a difference. It's the only one the parts store had in stock. It's the only one that did stock. Actually, the few parts stores I went and checked out without having to order online and wait a week for it to come in. So I guess this is what we're going to use. Now to install it, I'm going to feed it in through here. Line it up with the transmission housing here, and you know what? I think I'm going to have to release this ball joint. Get the to line up. It's pushing in. I might be able to squeeze this in on this car. We'll see. So I'll put you guys down and get this in the rest of the way. Sometimes you got to take a rubber mallet and tap on the end of this. In this case, I think I might have to. Yeah, let's grab a rubber mallet. Alright, so I got a rubber mallet. I'll see what I can do. There. Alright, that got in. So, didn't damage the threads or anything because I used the rubber mallet. You could also use a brass hammer for that and just tap a little gentler. Sometimes wrap a rag around this or put the old axle nut back onto this. I'm gonna get this in. Gotta bend it. Move that strut mount out of the way a little. That's going to go in nicely now. Yeah, tap on the end here with the rubber mallet, knock it down. I'm going to try and get the splines to match up and go through. This is not a fun job to be doing in the cold on the ice. Now I get to spin the axle a little bit just to get it to line the splines up. Whew. Just like that. Now, I'm going to take the axle nut. I'm not going to run it down or anything. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to drop it onto the ice. Grab you guys again. Just going to take the axle nut and thread it onto the end of the axle here. Just so that I can hold the axle shaft into place while I put the strut mount, and hopefully don't tear this boot either. So, find a good place for you guys to sit. Alright, so sorry the camera died as I was recording, but in the time being all I got done was just one bolt for the steering knuckle here back to the strut. It's being a bit of a pain. I really don't want to remove the lower ball joint to hook this back in, to put it back in that way, as the ball joint is already starting to look a little poor. You know, guy doesn't really want to spend a lot of money on this car at the moment. So, just kind of doing whatever I can to keep from doing that. So I got the one in. Now I'm just gonna try and push this back and get the second one in. Oh yeah, and that one goes in easy. So I'm just gonna take a rubber mallet and hammer that into place. I don't like using metal-headed hammers. Don't really want to risk stripping anything out. Just gonna snug this up a little bit. There. Alright, now grab my axle socket. Grab my breaker bar while I'm at it. I'm also going to grab the couple of parts that I need to put in this. Alright, so I got the washer, goes on there, axle nut goes on that, let's put the transmission back into park. Now these, they don't actually need to be cranked down really tight, just need to get it enough to get the cotter pins in. There. Now it looks like looks like being a axle for ABS or anti-lock brakes, I'm gonna have to reuse the old nut, so I can still get the retaining the secondary, like the lock nut, on there, as well with the cotter pin and the spring plate. That one. Grab my breaker bar and tighten that down a little bit. There. Now the spring pressure plate goes on. Or the spring washer, that's what it is. Retaining nut. Perfect. And the cotter pins, I actually like to use my side cutters. Got the cotter pin all the way up in there, and bend these over. That one over. Actually going to give them a couple of love taps. That shouldn't have a tap out. hammer. Let's try. There we go. There. Put that in. Now I gotta tighten up the nuts for the strut here. And for those were 21s again. Yeah. Get the breaker bar. Gonna get right on that bottom bolt there. Start cranking this down. There we go. And give me my socket back. There. That one on there. There. And I'm going to take my breaker bar. Give these a quick little snug. I don't know the actual torque specs on these. I've never really ever even torqued them down before. I usually just run them down with a ratchet and take a breaker bar like I'm doing now and just make them nice and snug. Alright. So those are all in and good to go. Next up is to get the wheel and tire back on. There. Alright, I had to switch cameras, the one died, so I'm just recording off my phone right now. So I got the wheel on, just gotta tighten up the lug nuts. Just gonna run them down with my ratchet for now. It's so cold out today. Weather's not really agreeing well with video recording devices. Alright, well, sorry for the camera jump. Both of my cameras had died at the time and I had to get it on the charger, but I wanted to get the repair done. So the complaint was, well, actually all I had left to do was torque up the wheel lug nuts anyways. So the customer came with a complaint of he thought the transmission was shot. He was driving along and then all of a sudden lost all power. He put his foot to the floor in gear and it would do nothing. So we had it towed to my place and got it checked out, and I realized and noticed it was the CV shaft. So to verify that repair, I'm gonna put the e-brake down, put it into drive, and we are moving. Put it in reverse, Alright, so we have drive again. So we're going to go for a quick test drive and make sure that it's operating as it should.